Page 7. In the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha, until enlightened I seek refuge, through merit from giving and the rest. To it all may I become Buddha, in the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha. Until enlightened I seek refuge, through merit from giving and the rest. To it all may I become Buddha, in the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha. Until enlightened I seek refuge, through merit from giving and the rest. To it all may I become Buddha. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings never be parted from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from bias, attachment, and hatred. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, who got to know of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, subduer the shackle clan. I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, who got to know of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, subduer the shackle clan. I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, who got to know of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer of the shackle clan. I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise, then I prostrate. With pure bodies formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. Supreme science, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dust free like you, the 3 worlds are not, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, one path is sublime, pure reality. To the Dharma that pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated, who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma refuge, homage to the great Sangha. To all 3 ever devout homage. To all worthy of respect, bowing with bodies as many as all realms, atoms, in all aspects, with supreme faith I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. From Tushita's hundreds of God's protectors are to tip of this fresh, pure white heaped curd my pot, Kurukulla Center, Dharma's omniscient king. Pray come to this place with your disciples, in space ahead on lion throne, lotus and moon. Then supreme merit, feel for my mind of faith. Your wisdom mind sees full range of knowables. Your eloquent speech adorns fortunate ears. Your beauteous body, famed glory outstanding. Homage to you, worthwhile to think of, hear and see. Pleasant offerings of water, various flowers, fragrant incense like perfume and so on. Oceans of offerings set out and envisioned, offered up to you, supreme field of merit, non-virtue committed with body, speech, and mind, which I have heaped up since beginning last time, and especially what has contradicted three vows. Each I confess from my heart with strong regret. In time of strife you strove to learn and practice, shunned mundane concerns, made life lessons full. O protector from depths of our hearts, we rejoice in your powerful grace. Venerable gurus from love and wisdom, clouds densely masked in your Dharmakaya sky, pray loose a rain of past profound Dharma on fields of disciples just as needed. May whatever virtue that I've here gathered bring benefit to all beings and doctrine, and may it make Venerable Losang drop essential teachings especially shine forever. Nigme sewe ter chen chen praise, dreame kempe wang po jam pel, du pung ma lu jom se song wei, gong chen ke pe su gen zong ka, lo sang dra pe shab la so wa. O glorious and precious Ruku, pray take seat of lotus on my, caring for me with your great kindness. Bestow attainments of body, speech, and mind. O glorious and precious Ruku, pray take seat of lotus at my heart, caring for me with your great kindness. Bestow attainments common and supreme. O glorious and precious Ruku, pray take seat of lotus at my heart, caring for me with your great kindness, until supreme awakening remains steadfast. Homage to the exalted three jewels. Thus have I heard at one time when the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajagriya and Mountain, together with a great assembly of monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time the Blessed One was absorbed in the concentration of the countless aspects of phenomenon called profound illumination. At that very time, the superior of Sera the Bodhisattva, the great being, was looking perfectly at the practice of profound perfection and wisdom, perfectly looking at the emptiness of inherent existence of the five aggregates also. Then, through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said to the superior of Sera the Bodhisattva, the great being, how should a child lineage train who wishes to engage in the practice of profound perfection and wisdom? Thus he spoke, and the superior of Sera the Bodhisattva, the great being, replied to the Venerable Shariputra as follows. Shariputra, whichever son or daughter of lineage wishes to engage in the practice of profound perfection of wisdom, should look perfectly like this. subsequently looking perfectly and correctly at the emptiness of inherent existence of the five aggregates also. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form, form is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composition, practice, and consciousness are empty. Sharaputra, like this, all phenomena are empty, without characteristics, that is, they are not produced and do not cease. They have no defilement and no separation from defilement. They have no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Sharaputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composition, no factors, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visible form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object of touch, no mental phenomenon. There is no eye element and so forth up to no mind element, up to no element of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no cessation of ignorance and so forth up to no aging and death, and no cessation of aging and death. Likewise, there is no suffering, no origin, no cessation, and no path. No exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Therefore, Sharaputra, because there is no attainment, suffers, rely, and abide in the perfection of wisdom, and because their minds have no obstructions, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond error, they attain the final state beyond sorrow. All the Buddhas who reside in the three times by relying upon the perfection of wisdom become manifested complete Buddhas in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the equal to the unequal mantra, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, since it is not false, should be known as the truth. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Tayata gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisoha. Sharaputra, this is how a bodhisattva, a great being, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and said to the superior Akhrisar, the bodhisattva, the great being, well said, O child of lineage, so it is. The profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced exactly as you have taught, and as the goddess will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Sharaputra, the superior Akhrisar, the bodhisattva, the great being, and the entire assembly, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, demigods, Gandharvas, and others, were filled with admiration and highly praised what had been spoken by the Blessed One. In the holy supreme abode of the Dakinis, possessor clairvoyance and miraculous power, unwaveringly caring for practitioners as your children, homage to the host of the three places Dakinis, Akasama. Jaya Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisoha. Through the power of truth of the exalted three jewels, speech, may all on the side of negativity such as the four Mars stop. May they be non-existent, and may they be stopped. All enemies, obstructors, and hindrances, Shanti Turiye Soha. The 80,000 types of obstructors pacified, free from adverse harmful conditions. May all be conducive and perfect auspiciousness, happiness and well-being here right now. Sashi Bhagi Yukshing Mejo Jamri Rabrinji Nide Gempari Sangye Jingdu
Good evening, everyone. How's the weather outside? Good to walk? Maybe we can take a walk a couple times. Circumambulation. Anyway, it's wonderful to be all able to come back to do a little bit practice, a little bit meditation, a little bit study. It is one hand is you guys are very great, very good to not give up. Maybe sometimes think about, they always talk same thing all the time, same. On the Jirimbuchi song was Tambo Jachin to a month, but the zone with them Tambashas. Then Mambu to go here.
So just like Lama Tsongkhapa said, at the beginning you have to study a lot, extensively, and then in the middle, all these studies that you did should appear as advice, and at the end, then you have to put all this into practice.
And that two said that Suzugo and the in the tuba, Suzugo, Yam Lojo Cheva, Samarajakores.
So usually it says heard, whatever you, first you have to hear a lot. Hear means to study, you have to listen or hear, which means to study, so study from a teacher or study by yourself.
And the tuba maybe gomba the than some sager special system. Tuba maybe gomba the ladu talanja chibayes, tuba yamawayana, labandu chin is some data, trango chibares lavares.
So and also in other texts, it says that without extensively, hearing or studying, if you try to meditate, it will be like a person with a crippled hand, like no, like with a fist, without proper fingers, trying to climb a rocky mountain.
What in the end, to be the movement, said Domicho, come on, so much in those shows. Suzugo, Tuzum Goms of Yawache, or Nata, Suzugo, Jachala, Yakshu, the Teres, Kumakia, your Morris, so the car and the Kindra Yoris.
So, and also it said that the study, is like a lamp, that dispels the darkness of ignorance, and it's also the best of the wealth, because no one can steal it from you.
Okay, today is a Goji Chibayanaya, the Mabu to go, Maboni to go, and
so even if it's just one subject, you should study a lot, about that same subject. Even if it's the same subject, you should study, in many different ways, and from many different teachers, because each will have different way of explaining, and which will all add to your knowledge.
Shatan Sanji Chumden the Chujipumba Gentishi to somebody. Te somebody Kansa Chik and the Chik Low Lamji Neka and the San Maji, but the Yamneche Sangita, Rimbachadon Chesonshayores.
So Buddha Shakyamuni actually taught 84,000 heaps of doctrine, and this is the whole teaching, from the beginning for an individual, from beginning till one achieves full enlightenment.
Oh, Tindi Yimbanza Nechi Kadina Chipare Sameda. Sawa came with Samayo Marita, Sawa Kajano, Suzu, Yamnech in the Topajaleche, Tate Sabangones.
So you should not think that it's the same old thing all the time. So each time you study, you gain something new. So you shouldn't think that there's nothing new. It's all same thing like that. So actually, when you study and generate the realization yourself, then that will really become the new.
Okay. Niche Majon by the Jim Messon or that and the Shival. Near Sanji so Mawajida. Mandawaji, not okay like Kilomara.
And also, same like Shantideva said, there's nothing, nothing new that has not been explained before. Just like Shantideva said, so when you hear something, everything is already explained.
Okay. Another cartoon, Kang two Shava, Kang Yamli, Loso Shava, the Gomjane, Suzukila, Topachiva Chico.
So what we should do is, whatever we have studied or heard, we should put that into practice and generate realizations.
Okay? There's Tayamata, Yan to Mambo to Kalimambo to an Kazi Sindala Tobajabacha and the Pachayabushano.
So for that, you have to hear or study again and again, from many different teachers. And so by doing that, even if you are not able to generate any realizations in this life, at least you leave a very strong positive imprints in your mind.
그래서 바차 세대가도 빼면서 내가 지금 쓰기 어려서 배에 남백이 줄을라.
And in Buddhism, the imprint is considered very important.
그리고 배는 미카시 단다 가래나 지금 미소수 지 가래 장당 만다고 지금 소소 케미가 가간도 가시 배나 신소한 거 봐. 가시 짜소한 거 봐. 가시 컴퓨터자 거 봐. 가시 배나야 트릭래가 거 봐. 라면도 소소르지.
So there are many different people with different skills, right? Different expertise. So some are an expert in computers, some are expert in carpentry, some are expert in masonry, and all these different kind of things, different kind of fields, right? And so this all depends on the imprint. So in Tibetan Buddhism, the imprint is considered very important.
Okay. 어디시 근데다 당한소 담대게 장 오늘잖아. 다 취지본부 제트시도 그다 제제 내도봐. 아니 차상 디딩에 당 오늘 정말 전부 동거하신 분 소연도 시심에 돈을 많아도 다 니레니레 냠는데 제대로 요래.
And so this text, the foundation of all good qualities by Lama Tsongkhapa, includes all the essence of Buddha's teaching, all these 84,000 hips of doctrine that Buddha taught. All of that, the essence of all that, is included in this text.
Okay, then that 뱀매들게 배신데 배침보 아니 제자 띵 사본데 파 사보지만 다 내가도 로르시에 되셔는데 트레랑도 나와셔야 요래.
And so so this text is very very sacred in a sense that it includes all that teaching taught by Buddha. And it's very profound and very, very extensive. So that if we want to go through the study of all this, we can go for like years. And just one subject we can study for months. So, for example, the first verse explains the Guru devotion, right? And so, just about that Guru devotion, if you look into the lam-rim text, there's like there's explanation about that about over 100 pages. And then also there's this text called 50 verses of Guru devotion, which all explains about the qualities of the Lama, the importance of the Lama, and so forth.
Okay.
But if you want to go in the concise, abbreviated version, then you can also have just like in one verse like this here.
Okay, then that number choose the morning on the jigda chibara park and
So it's like elastic, so you can stretch as much as you want, and you can also what do you call that? What's that? Contract.
Condense it.
Contract. Contract.
And then
as short as you want.
대세 장에서다 냠내 중에서 냠내 제신나야한테 딱 대고 코 쉬어요. something 이래. 제 마시나야 딱 힘으로 서 쉬어야 돼.
And then also, of course, depending on how much you have studied, how much experience you have gained, that much easier it will be, for you to be able to put into practice, right? And so whether you can put into practice or not, whether it becomes easier for you to put into practice or not depends on how much you have studied.
Okay. 어디지 다 두지는 것도 가상나지는 곰자기 저기 만들어야 있어.
And so just like that, like before, we'll go through this again, with the meditations on it, on each subject.
아니 곰자기 qabla 야당 것도 담보 소식서 다 속사비신을 소식서 썼다고 요래.
And so first you have to visualize the merit field. That's for accumulating merit.
아니 단내 조조원이 단 정말 뭐 송가치 문제대 와인자 아니 것도 소식가 아니 땡지 조라 지름 보체 된데 수징한서 곰잡나 팬데 체육이로 와.
And so because it is the text taught by Lama Tsongkhapa, therefore in the main figure of the merit field, if we visualize Lama Tsongkhapa, and I think that will be more blessing.
아니 다 가서 그 아니 정말 뭐 송가바데 단대기 잘라 아니 가데 연가 준들라 슈대요 그래서 그래.
And so at the moment, we say that Lama Tsongkhapa resides in Tushita Pure Land.
아니 다 먹어봐 단다 상지 10월에 상지 10월에 주지바데 아니 진보시가 야 좋게 남았지 되는 담을 패그레스 또 송거요.
And also it is prophesied that Lama Tsongkhapa, so now this is the fourth Buddha, like Buddha Shakyamuni is the fourth Buddha of the 1,000 Buddhas that's going to come into this world. And so Lama Tsongkhapa is going to be the 10th or 11th Buddha, who's going to come into this world and turn the wheel of Dharma.
아니 다 가데 얘가 친스세한테 다 지금 중원에 지금 곰박서 받는 거지. 가데사지 사자지 당가서 때리져버려 그 강을 양한도 되게 오래 남가. 아니 대라야 가데사 되어. 되냐 파치되다 가데 연가치 되다 간데 다지지. 단다 지도 상방 공부 아니 대리야. 다 잡으시네. 라마치네 슈도 사트리 내지요레스.
So the Tushita, heaven, which is the Tushita God realm, right? Tushita God realm, and then there's this called Tushita Pure Land. And so the Tushita Pure Land, is like at the distance, from from the Tushita God realm, just like from a town, to a monastery.
Wow.
You know how far is that? That's same distance, like from the town, from the city or village, to the monastery.
아니 대라다 오늘 전에 다 답변이지 빼 오늘 전에 이 제시 예도 와 아니 같이 딱가로 보라색에 뭐 공부해서 빼매도 니 저어야 와 아니 자치고 게 라면나서 자가 왔던데 이게 야뭐지 삼다고 그랬어.
And so then you should visualize that Pure Land, the Tushita Pure Land, which is at the distance from the village to the monastery, from the Tushita God realm, to the Pure Land. And in the Tushita Pure Land, you have to, it is all very perfect. Everything is very nice. It's all this environment, the hills, the mountains, the meadows, everything is very beautiful. And you visualize, all these the celestial mentions, of Buddha Maitreya, and there's everything's, very nicely, like beautiful, decorated, and you hear all these beautiful sounds of the birds chirping and so forth. So just visualize as as beautiful as you can imagine.
뭐지? 안에 대저 다 대가 안에 투가들 앞에다 단단한 멜롱라고 투가라 멜롱라고 바지 something 야보이랬어.
And then in the front, of that celestial mansion, there's a Buddha Maitreya, and then at his heart, so you can visualize like a mirror at his heart.
안에 대 나들라 다 지역에서 뭔가 전에씩 다 지금 뭔가 파트너다 주지라고 선배 주주 많이 받지. 간지 지역에서 섬이야 지금은 단단 미 남바 gelong 남바 지는 식이 와서 땅고 그래서.
And then in the heart of Buddha Maitreya, it looks like a mirror. That there, you visualize Lama Tsongkhapa and his two disciples in a human form, like a fully ordained monk form.
안에 다 된디기 아니 간좀 좀 가들라 진고지 두고는 내가 요스 된디기 두고네 다 좀봐 쇼가 보선으로 신가서 집에나는데 돌리피부터 파트 디자인 거다 봐 놓은 거 되게 소로지 아니 좀봐 빼 따지 간지 된디 녹가워 연바 아니 싸와 연바 된디기 소식지 대마를 못 타버려는지 막 배지 아니 지압서 좀 아니 지 예라 자섭지 요랑 그럽지 아니 지름부치 대트 고샤치 치안오지 아니 올라 빼잖나다와 아니 차라야 아니 잡에단단 아니 만도 꾸여와나 제제네 속단들이 봐지 이제 미나 봤는데 결혼 나 봐지 이거 삼탄 거 그래서 아 배용하시.
And then just like, when we do the Guru Yoga of Lama Tsongkhapa, which says like from the Tushita's hundreds of God's protectors' heart, that's referring to Buddha Maitreya, right? So from the heart of Buddha Maitreya, then you visualize this is to the tip of this fresh white, pure white heaped curd-like cloud. So sitting on that, then Lama Tsongkhapa and two disciples descend down in the like a stream of a cloud. Stream of cloud, flowing all the way down, and then there you visualize Lama Tsongkhapa with the two disciples, like Khensur Rinpoche, Geshe Rinpoche on the right and Khensur Rinpoche on the left, and all three of them in a fully ordained, in a human, like a human form, a fully ordained human form, a fully ordained monk, and wearing Pandita's hat, and wearing the three robes of the monk, and so visualize like that in the space in front of you.
다 됐고 남가서나 그 주사요 말았더니 다 공원 남보다 주사 소소고 문에잖아요. 성계치 뭐지지 안에 때에 저 슈트페 하면서 따는 데 받는다 되는 것도 빠르는 동도 같은데 지금 난 대체 좀숨 소소 되더라야. 근데 공원보다 주사니 다 소소고 피고 요래서.
And then in the so when you visualize that, you can just visualize in the space, right? So you offer a seat, a throne. Like the throne supported by 8 snow limes. So that's imagine that kind of throne, or offering that kind of throne, and they are sitting on that throne.
와 아니 되게 이제 강라다 지역에서 두제 진짜 친구네 아니 뭐라는 걸 남아인 발라 아니 남바 지역에서 남바 지내다 펩시고 아니 대야지 두제 진짜 소소를 맞다 대와로 있다고 그러서.
So imagine that they're sitting there, very happily or delightfully. So by nature they're your root guru, but in the aspect or in the form of Lama Tsongkhapa and two disciples, sitting there on the throne, very delightfully, and looking down at you.
아니 대양 콘남버서야 아니 수수군들라야 아니 쪽세와 쪽대대 간라다 윤도시에마게 잡배대 샤야고 섬당고 그래서.
And then also in front of each of them, imagine a table, and on top of which is the text of this foundation of all good qualities.
아 다 나신 게다 아니 된저기 지에 좀 보신 옆에서 주사가 여행 거라지단 네 바나서고는 telaya 상제다 상제 삼법 평고지 다지 남가라시 쯤박 도하는 제 차선을 쉬요 삼고 그래서.
And then also you can think of other Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, surrounded to these three Lama Tsongkhapa and three disciples. So the whole space is filled with all these holy beings, just like a cloud, spreading all over the space.
다나제 수수고 예윤도제 삼발라 아니 세대가 파마가 좀 맞는 거 다다님 메시지 탐지 요 삼고 그래서.
And then also around oneself, on the right, left, in front and back, is all surrounded by all sentient beings, all the mother sentient beings, including the mother and father of this life, and all other mother sentient beings.
다 대진에 딱 가서 지름처럼 저와 가져가서나 아니 내질라 신년 돼서 또 봐야 보지 제와지 진절로 나 스탕도 고야 되레스.
And so what you are requesting, is requesting, to bless you, with the realization of the Guru devotion.
오케이. 다 담보 정도 때 공지 잡셔 두 전에야. 아니 질로 맞게 받아 당 가서 나와 나지 진짜 소소고 뭐야뭐 맞좀 섬나지 차르지 미 간주 먼저 다나 간주 먼저 샤. 맞아 미라 가래샤나 텔랑 가서 섬 도샤 그래. 근데 이제 저나 아니 뭐좀제 아니 섬나때 오늘 차르니 샤워 찍고 그래서.
And so now try to do the visualization, just like we explained. So usually, it's easier to visualize that when your eyes are closed. When your eyes are open and you see the objects, then that comes in your mind. And so whatever you see with your eyes open, that comes into your mind. And so that would be distraction. So now, right now, you want to see that, you want to visualize that merit field. Just like I explained. So therefore, close your eyes and then try to have that visualization as clear as possible.
다주도 되 곰자 차이주래 당아서 가상나지 여대시마 슈르가 담보도 좀 넘겨인다세 된 돈발라 때네 아니 가상나지 담보 수수지지 질링아들 때도 빠져나 봐 덕거다 수고 나빠지는 마타 송어선바 니바도 사가버도 수수는 신이라지 다 막히봐 아니 까마잡아 소마잡아 아니 지금 마테바셔봐 된지게도 가인보다 다 송어선바지 아니 선바데 걸었다 수수질라 신인데서 또봐 제바질라 제송 삼베지 수수선바 가와로 공고레스.
And so then as we recite this verse and imagine the light and nectar flowing down from the heart of the Lama Tsongkhapa into disciple and enter into you, through your head. And the first visualization, it purifies all the negativities, of your body, speech, and mind. And then during the second visualization, imagine you do that same visualization of nectar and light flowing down again. And at that second time, imagine all the negativities related to the Guru devotion, created in relation to the Guru devotion, like by not listening to the Guru's advice or going against Guru's advice or criticizing Guru and not having faith in Guru and so forth. Whatever negative karmas one has created by doing that, that's all being purified. Imagine like that. And then during the third visualization, third time when you do the visualization of nectar and light flowing down, at that time, then you imagine that you are being blessed with the realization of perfect Guru devotion. The foundation of all good qualities is the kind and perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect.
Okay, now the meditation same as what we explained. 다 뒤줄라다는 것도 신인데서 또 봐질라 제스미질라다 아니 이제 단조 무송을 막 보고 요래.
So after you have generated the realization of Guru devotion, then you have to shift to recognizing the prophet in rebirth.
그래서 딱 단단한서 뺐다 네 마음을 심은 거지. 간지 만두 릴라 나사도요 말이 sem나 아니 다주 강에 드는 침보요 말이 아니 나도 카타식이 요리 이게 lok식이 요리 고마 보식이 요리 아니 근데 영화대 아니 사람 듣지야서 뭐라 왔어. 가디는 근데 영화 갈래 가오러 왔어.
So don't have to think too much about it. Just think the simple way, like the fact that we are quite healthy and physically quite healthy and mentally not very stressed, and being able to speak, being able to understand, being able to walk around. So having all these facilities, having all these favorable conditions is very fortunate.
근데 인자 다가는 감소 세대 지부된다 제다바이나 실로고 자치고 저보다 집받지 않을 테니 마인다 아니 된지가 아니 밀리타 첨보데 아니 된다된 바 메트 약보지 쟁이는 삼고 그래서.
And so we should think of using this prophet river that we have, in a best way, in a meaningful way. If we just keep on thinking about this life only and just do the things for this life, then we are not benefiting, from the animals, like even the birds and other animals, can do things for themselves for this life.
아니 미야보시 뭐 삼바삼보시 아니 뭐 제가 패모도 내 마치 드리지를 삼고 그래서.
And should think of being a good person, a good-hearted person, like not causing harm to others, even if one is not able to benefit them.
오케이 다등에 고민다 담보 특징인데 아니 곰다가는 이제 담보야 아니 소소지 질링한테 봐야 잡았다. 니베 전에 사고보다 아니 네 지금 단절은 힘볼 렘발 받으시지가 아니 지금 니모 강에다 다 손을 선바지 아니 선바지 전에 아니 지금 지금 보시기 독하네 마야 아니 두속감마 요는 가서 지금 아니 지금 딱가로 맞은 삼삼 차와시지 바와요 맞은 차와들 롬바 마서와치 시시 소불아 차나치 띄우는 거지 된제가 손다고 마 밥치 아니 수술링 하선 아니 진질 남네 아니 지금 다윗들라 힘볼랜데 걸로 야보지라 계속 님가고 공부를
And then again, like before, you do the visualization of light and nectar flowing down 3 times. During the first time, imagine all the negativities of your body, speech, and mind are being purified. Second time, purified all the negativities that obstruct one from gaining the realization of proper human rebirth. And during the third time, imagine one is being blessed with the realization of the prophet of rebirth, which is like like extracting, which is always extracting the essence from this prophet of rebirth. So imagine like nectar and light flowing down, falling on you, just like a very light rain, like drizzling, on you, and then you're being purified and gained all the realization of prophet of rebirth.
Okay, can you read?
Understanding that the precious freedom of the rebirth is found only once is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly day and night takes its essence.
Okay, start meditation. Whatever we say. All different nectars come from the Lama Tsongkhapa and 3 disciples. 4 they come from that, then before hitting you they all mix together into your body, purify all your negative karmas. Again, second one come, particularly for your negative karmas to your recognize that this perpetual human rebirth, there can negative karmas purify. Third time again the nectar will come to you have very good feeling to recognize, understand. I'm going to use this perpetual human rebirth useful, meaningful. 다 뒤질라 다 된간도 아니 지 단줄 녀가세 디 똑바질라 제 서원 바까지 다 뛰올만이 제우 중등 전부터 람지는 뭐 좋고 그래 다조 제우 중이디 아니 조대 중도 도모와서 디 제우 중도 드닝이 냠나 가르쳐고서나 조 아니 지금 저만 다 받을 렌지는 공부하더래스 된간 좀 밀려고 도바나 고치 직통나 라야 주는 도에면은 개요 말이나 되면 말이 아니 시도를 매도 그래서 매वे깔아 소년도 나네 렌제 된 거래서 아니 디 레건 저 신경은 소소년 같은데자 아니 레 야보건 되발라 아니 야보 레도 보고 먹여는 되발라 아니 둥아이 오다 아니 가디나 레까보 코나 잡고인 개벨레 코나 잡고인 어떤 데서 그랬다 되게 된다.
And so now with that, you have done the practice of making this prophet rebirth meaningful, or identifying the difficulties to achieve this prophet rebirth, and then after that, you do the practice of the small scope, the practice that's common with the small scope, common in a sense that it's also practiced by the medium scope and the higher scopes. So here. What you're basically thinking, is like this prophet rebirth that you have achieved, if it's going to be like that, if it's going to stay forever, then of course you don't have to worry. But it's not going to stay. It will perish, and it will perish. So then, after we die, what happens? It will follow the black and white karma, just like a body shadow follows the body, and and so therefore always create. So if we do a good, we will have a good. If we do bad, we will have bad. So therefore, always try to do good and not do any bad. So requesting here to be blessed, to be blessed with the conscientiousness, to do always good and not do any bad.
Okay, that's the chilona telma tsudenaji jinagom jamshos.
So let's read these two verses and then just meditate just like it is said here. So this life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the result of black and white karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest of negativities, and accomplish all virtuous deeds. And so just like earlier, do the three repetition of the visualization of nectar and light flowing down.
Okay. 다 되게 제ව 주문도 통오람지 또 빠져라 제송스나 가와공고래.
So with that, you need to rejoice or feel happy that you have generated the realization of the small scope path.
다 뒤올라니 제वन 리다 통오람지 말로성을 그래.
And then after that, is the path common, with the medium scopes.
아니 네가 좀 고해동하래 그러다 고해동하.
Here mainly talking about the samsaric suffering.
아니 네가 동아란테도 공부라 겐주스 제대도 공부라 니지에서라 그랬어.
And so thinking about the suffering upon oneself, is renunciation, and wanting to be free from that, is the one renunciation, and thinking about the suffering upon others and wanting, them to be free from those suffering, is called compassion.
가진 고액이 아니 지금 다 대화라이 아니 롱 가세지 쇼바야 나네 단 렉송사마요 말에. 근데 이제 매화다 때들 이때요 말에. 근데 이때 뭐 스베 포도니 된리게 예매돼 리네 아니 타왔더니 일로 아니 gelacheva 신gelab도 나왔라고 그러와.
So no matter how much you experience the samsaric pleasure, one will never be satisfied, and is uncertain and cannot be relied upon. So by understanding that, then one should have the wish, to be free from those sufferings, and generate a strong wish, to achieve liberation.
다 당연하지 고민다. 고민답돼서 배웠으면 제시와.
And so just like earlier, do these three visualization, the visualizations of the light and nectar flowing down 3 times. Seeking samsaric pleasure is the door to all suffering. They are uncertain and cannot be relied upon. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate a strong wish for the bliss of liberation.
오케이. 다 된 거지. 다 되고달라 아니지. 다 타와더니 로세 되시고 남도 선바더니 간제 타와더니 로 대 가디에 만나 타와 아니 돈이 로데 아니 템바다 시에도 보였음지 아니 즉 야보지 따내서 아니 주도 아니 지금 나왔으니 냠내 들비지 냠내라야 배파라 아니 신기랍도록 신기랍도 나오세요.
And then the next verse, is led by this thought, this pure thought, the pure thought of wishing, to achieve liberation. And then with the mindfulness and alertness and great cautious rise, and the root of the teaching is keeping the Patimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. And so, keeping the vow, is the root of the teachings, and the cause, to achieve liberation. And so, requesting, for Lama Tsongkhapa to bless oneself, to be able to keep these vows, with the mindfulness, alertness, and conscientiousness.
Okay,
so led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great cautions arise. The root of the teaching is keeping the Patimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice.
Okay, Samatha meditation, 3 times. All the nectars come from all the Buddhas, particularly for Lama Tsongkhapa 2 disciples. Before they hit you, they all mix together, then hit your body, put about all your negative karmas. Secondly, particularly your this kind of realization of the problem, obstacles, purify. Again, third one come, your very good blessings, feeling to keep the vow, keep the practice, morality, good blessing, feel happy, peace, relax. 뭐지 다 되지 다 뒤줄라 다 안에 소소 타와타와는 저요 말이다 소소 나지 선비지 대원동아 대원도지 동안만도 봐 진송해 봐 대원도죠 대원 봉화 동안만도죠 동아지 같은 나다 진송해 받아 신에 다 선지 탐족도 상제 공부 도고 근데 어서면 다 상적 선지라 제고 그래서
And then in the next, is the practice of the Mahayana path, the Great Scope's path. And then here it's just as I have fallen into the seas of samsara. So just like oneself, and other sentient beings have also fallen into the cycle existence. And even though they want to have happiness, they are deprived of happiness. Even though they don't want to have sufferings, but they're always tormented by sufferings. And so by seeing that, take the responsibility upon oneself, to liberate all these sentient beings, from samsara, and to lead them to the state of everlasting happiness by oneself alone. And then for that, one must gain state of full enlightenment. So, generate a strong wish, wanting to achieve enlightenment, for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Okay, and to the was.
So let's read this verse. Just as I have fallen into the seas of samsara, so have all mothers migratory beings. Please bless me to see this training supreme bodhicitta and bear the responsibility of freeing migratory beings.
Okay. Some realization to all the nectars that come from the principles. Hit your body, put about your own negative karmas, especially this negative karmas for subjection. Think about only yourself. Purify negative karma there. Secondly, particularly any obstacle to achieve a bodhicitta, that negative karmas to purify. Third, you can have get blessing to achieve a bodhicitta, a realization and bodhicitta. Okay,
So when you have generated bodhicitta, you become Mahayanist. You become object of veneration by all the humans and gods. And therefore there are very great benefits. So up to here we have already discussed last time.
와 근데 다 가서 샹적 셈질라 제세 샹적 셈세다 가지고 그래서 로컬지라 샹적 셈라고 그래서나
And so when we talk about generating this mind of enlightenment or bodhicitta, what kind of mind is called bodhicitta?
오케이 what kind of mind 어 근데 그 삼수제를 어떻게 삼모당당이로 와
So that kind of thought, that kind of mind, right?
다 들리듯 제발 내는 가렌도 거
So before generating that kind of mind, what should we proceed?
들리듯 셈데 깨당만도 가세요나
So what should it be preceded by?
그래 진짜로 가서
The bodhicitta be preceded by what? Great compassion,
오케이
renunciation,
응 나니까 내주
renunciation, ngejung.
now you have to go the number remember we memorize numbers
Equanimity,
No.
recognizing all.
if you don't know that how you call the numbers you just looking shoot the gun without knowing that the how you call target okay therefore you need to ready your mind okay first in order to achieve that you need to that in order to that you need to that in order to you need that you need that you need to one by one otherwise you guess or maybe that maybe my question is not clear but maybe your mind's ready that maybe my question is not clear but you need to very important to clear okay what the karo sem kedana karo that sem kedana jela ora jesul mara kasesna jesul niores jedemenga denigo de jesul chida ani dajen jigo de jesul niores
So how many ways of generating the bodhicitta? Two ways.
what are they
What are they?
Instructions and exchanging oneself.
okay and denigi chewa 가르나
What's the difference between those two? Those two ways.
One's exchanging oneself for others, and one is through the seven
So what's the difference?
who practice that
What's
who?
the difference between those two?
sharp faculty.
okay
Uh-huh.
So with others, for shock faculty.
karo
Omunotu.
mono de chor okay that's
Yeah.
good everyone got that
Could you repeat that?
Equalizing and exchanging self with others is for sharp faculty disciples.
got it 내가 상주 삼바 온보 nombo기 다자님 적은 셈치기 그래서 온보 또보도 당보 셈치에 갈라 안에 지내면 가지고 이거 제가 살아왔어
So the sharp faculty bodhisattvas, will generate bodhicitta through exchanging and equalizing self with others. But the dull faculty bodhisattvas, when they first generate bodhicitta, they will go through the sevenfold cause and effect instruction.
okay what are your question or what
I have a question. What makes the first one sharp faculty? Why is that sharp?
대미 제도 말대 대리 니바체 깔리 가요
It's harder to do that way.
다제 제 셈바데 째빼면서 깔리 가요 제도 들어가서
It's harder to generate bodhicitta in that way, but it's very effective if you can, because like exchanging self with others. Can you do that?
Oh, that's like feeding the tiger your body, that kind of thing. Is that the example?
그때 뭐뭐 다 쳐서 가래 나도 테마 자오셔야 돼 너 자고 매 다제 님직이 제도에 간제 바로 간데 라다 신이 근데 신지 받으면 또 있고 그래 가지
Yeah, you should cherish others more than oneself.
okay
So is that easy to do?
텔레 아니 마시 텐제 트조 요즘 띠띠들 라요래
Or recognizing all sentient beings as your mother? Which one is easier?
No.
Yeah, the second one.
Yeah, recognizing all sentient beings as your mother is easier than
Far easier.
cherishing others more than yourself.
okay yes yes
Thank you.
For sharper faculty bodhisattvas, do they depend on the thought that all sentient beings are their mother?
그래서
다신념적 거네 가서 다신념적 유거는 거네 가서 저쪽에 섬경이 전주 선박이 아니야 코너서 때 가서 마실라 라래 그래 봤어요.
대 고고를 마치 듣는도 고고를 했나네 디 강라 고도께 라보체 열어봤어
Yes, you do need that, but this one is in addition to that.
yeah
But why, if the first one's effective, why do the second one? If you've already generated bodhicitta, what's the purpose of equalizing and exchanging self with others?
그래서
또 전주 섬 저기 깨사요나. 아니 다시 냠제 제 고박하랬어.
제가 단다 텔레 샘주 공도 배워. 아니 샘지 공도 배워. 샘지
깨어 말았다.
마제가도 제 말. 다모제 제 말하다. 제 차원에 단다 대파 제고 그래서. 야
말해.
공도 단다 제 말.
전주섬 깨 사나다 그 다시 냠제 제거요 말아.
대고 제고 배나 샹주선 뭐 노보도 두고 다모제는 줄라야 다시 제고 그래서 남름도 안 도와 스페셜.
다시 냠제 제도 온다 전주섬 제도 온다 다시 냠제 제사라.
다모제도 제다. 저는 제 마제가 제고 봤어.
네.
아니 나중에 이제 차상 제다 신의 샹주를 제 도요 봤다. 다모제가 말아.
아,
나중에 냠제가
쟤네
샘지
쟤네가 전주섬 끼거라.
나중에 냠제데 레응한테 손에 신의 샹주를 제고
그래.
봐.
그러나서 나도 전주섬 이렇게 사나든 다시 냠제 가르친 제거래서 그래.
수책을 앞서.
So anyway, so you don't have to. I mean, once you have generated bodhicitta, you have already exchanged yourself with others. You have already equalized and exchanged self with others already. You know, so you don't have to like generate bodhicitta, like generate bodhicitta, and then go back to equalize and exchange self with others. You know, you don't have to do that.
The sharper faculty bodhisattvas don't have to do the sevenfold cause and effect, but they can just go straight to equalizing and exchanging self.
Self with others, yes.
And in that equalizing and exchanging, where is there a meditation that sentient beings have been your mother?
그럼.
다들 전주섬부터 옹보 논보도 저기 다시 냠제고는 되는 전주섬 깨도기는 코나서 되는 대나나 되는 맛이 텐데 텐서도 가고 그랬어.
땡을 로서는 맛이 텐데 맛이 텐데 주소 요거 샴바. 이제 더와일에는 신이 아니 차동 내로 맛이 텐데 주소 요거 샴바. 이제 모두 차동 놓고 그랬어. 아니 진리명가 된다니 다시 니가 놓고 그랬어. 땡을 말은 이제 깨요 말이.
So up to compassion, you know, they both have to go through that. So whether going through the sevenfold course and effect instruction or going through equalizing and exchanging self with others, and up to the compassion, you have to go through both.
한
So from
텔레비전
the recognize all sentient beings as your mother, remember their kindness, wishing to repair their kindness, affection and love and compassion. Up to that, you have to go through that. And then from there, the sharp faculty bodhisattva will generate equalizing and exchanging self with others.
디슈체 디니바체 이러도 가지.
And then that becomes more effective or more powerful.
So the sharper faculty, they skipped great compassion stage.
대 이게 된 로고 말았어.
그 전지성 인지심 교를 끼고 말해서.
다 니지 먹고 절제 들어봤어. 니지 절제 사와인자네 드니야다나 가로 라슴 남다서 지와. 어떻게 제고 말해. 아니 그 다시 이제 그 제대. 대제야 대 다시 님지 그 제와 지를 거지. 라슴 샘지 제야 대 다시 님지 전에 그 제.
자성 교고 말해.
라슴 제야 대 아니 다시 님지 그 제와 지를. 디바라 코타 라보시 거.
자성을 열어요도.
여기 차는 로고 그래.
You have it's included in that everything, you know. Everything. So after you have generated, you do have to generate compassion. So when you generate compassion, and then you equalize, equalize and exchange self with others. And at that time, of course, you also have to go through the response, the superior intention, which is taking the responsibility upon oneself to lead all sentient beings to the state of enlightenment. So taking the responsibility, and then after that, it's I can't do it by myself, so I have to achieve enlightenment. And therefore, you generate the bodhicitta at the time. And so, of course, you have to go through that all same, but in the middle, you have this extra, that's a practice, of equalizing and exchanging self with others. And so that's done by the sharp faculty bodhisattva.
So the sharper they attain it quicker.
거기 계셔 말이네. 티가라 엑스트라들 그 몸이 제도 그래서 그러지.
And not about quick, it's extra, in the middle, so where you can do
그냥
more.
안저 랍단도는 미카시가 랍단 담담 몸이 제도거든. 카시가 그 랍단나 가야 왔으면 심어 제도 뭐 대도 집어넣어 그랬어.
And so, and like just like when you go to school, you have this curriculum or studies, to do. But some people they can do much more than what you are required to do. But some people they only can do what is required to do.
뭐 된다 왔다. 대도 집어가지. 그 니바데 생유 치야인자 아니 될 마가 제도 그래.
And so, because you have more, stronger wish, to benefit others in being, therefore you can do more.
오케이. 되지. 다 샹적 샘세데 가래. 샹적 샘도 뭐 가래. 샹적 샘세 다 썸무다들이라. 나도 지지 시바지라 왔어.
So what is what is bodhicitta?
Everyone said
Also means to have enlightenment.
for the benefit of all sentient beings.
든지 샘이 되는 것도 깨요 소리가. 나도 지지 깨 투소리가.
So it's a state of mind, right?
Yes.
Can it be generated by us?
만주 샘고 삼노지 만주 희바지 되는 거 깨고 그러 봤어.
So it's just a state of mind, right? So generating in that state, it's a state of mind.
뭔가 나도 샤접 삼지 평이 지키 키워 들게 잡아도 수수 샘지 된 거야 깨고 그래.
So it's a part of our mind, that arises in that entity, right? It's not something from outside where you have to pick up and then add it in here, right?
그래. 오케이. 다 들리기 샤접 샘들라 아니 뭐고니 가세요 그래.
So that kind of bodhicitta, how many are there in terms of the entity? Two.
What are the two?
Wishing and action.
Okay, that's good. Then you check kare.
What's the difference between those two?
Sharp faculty and
No,
Aspiring is
not elevation.
engaging is actually doing it.
Yeah,
Okay.
can say it better.
What are that? Second, little loud.
Aspiring is wanting to do it and engaging is.
Maybe not you, maybe some other person. Okay. Second, other person. Go ahead.
One is the motivation, one is the action.
가로 지금 그랬어.
Chikdi kulongres, chikdi chawares.
배 된다 버려. 나 티켓이다 말인데 다 뒤소다 버려. 좋아, 내가 좋아. 내 싫어지다 싶어지는 건 특히 와지고 특히 좋은데.
So it's just like, when there's in the text it gives example of wishing to go and going, right?
오케이. 다들 샹주었습니다. 아니 샹주었으나 군도 샹주었으나 대도 샹주었습니다. 너 된차와 가래.
And then there's also like conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta, right?
Not Jennifer, okay? Another person. Okay?
What's the difference between those two?
내가 두서 배 가서 내가 주도 가리나 고대와지 나도 는 같은 거 로주 잡고 고대와지 다 키주는 케미가 잘하고 넣었어.
So not just listening, but also being able to say it out is important.
Okay.
So like you listen, but then when you ask to say, then you get stuck there. So
There were even the same thing we need to say again, hit, again. Okay, what are the two different? Maybe not Ian, okay? Not Ian.
Conventional and ultimate.
yeah,
Okay,
difference
think
between the
what different
conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta.
Okay?
Ultimate's conjoined with emptiness.
A little loud is okay. Can you,
Ultimate is conjoined with emptiness.
okay? Are you going to follow that? No. The reverse.
Do you all agree that?
그래서
단답 장주쌤들 다 동반이 쌤바레스.
Ultimate's conjoined with emptiness.
가리
동반이 쌤바.
동반이 스물한 칼로.
What do you mean by conjoined with emptiness?
Together, it has the understanding of emptiness.
돈이 또
That's what I
벨샤.
thought.
그럼
돈이 또 벨로.
Is that wrong?
돈이 또 벨로 쌤바.
okay. You know correct.
mind of an Arya
Oh, wrong,
Bodhisattva.
okay.
The wisdom realizing emptiness in the mind of an Arya Bodhisattva.
그래서
돈이 또 벨. 장사 파베 주게 돈이 또 벨로 쌤베. 장주쌤 됐어.
대가리.
What is that? What Bob just said is what? Ultimate bodhicitta?
아니 그도신이잖아.
And then what about conventional bodhicitta?
Spontaneous bodhicitta.
단정 지당 장주쌤 됐어.
아니 대동이도 모르고 성말해.
So the conventional bodhicitta is not conjoined with the wisdom understanding emptiness?
Conventional bodhicitta exists for pure compassion for all beings. This is Islam.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't have to be conjoined.
그 말했어요.
Yeah, I thought that was the.
You guys know correct. 대다시에서도 샹주고 쌤 말에 샹주 쌤배지 돈이도 모르고 달라 되거래. 대다 샹주 쌤한테.
So it's not a bodhicitta, right?
Right.
Ultimate bodhicitta is not bodhicitta. You know that, right? Huh?
Yes, no.
Ultimate bodhicitta is wisdom realizing emptiness. Wisdom realizing emptiness, is the ultimate bodhicitta. So wisdom realizing emptiness, within the continuum of Arya Bodhisattva, is the ultimate bodhicitta. So it's actually the wisdom, realizing emptiness within the continuum of Arya Bodhisattva. So of course there's a bodhicitta. 그래서 돈이 또 왜?
샹선 법이지 돈이도 싫어달라.
왜?
Realizing emptiness within.
샹주 쌤배지 돈이도 별로더라. 샹선 법이지 돈이도 별로더라. 대다 샹주 쌤라 그래.
So it's the ultimate bodhicitta is the wisdom realizing emptiness. But not just wisdom, not any kind of just wisdom realizing emptiness, but wisdom realizing emptiness within the continuum of Arya Bodhisattva.
Okay. 구조 샤주 쌤서도 샤주 쌤 운에 들라대. 샤주 쌤
So
운에
the
들라.
conventional bodhicitta is like you said, the actual bodhicitta.
Okay. 다때 돈이 또 별로 생이 여러 마생이 여러스. 다시
So,
이제 다 샤주 쌤 돈이 맞으면 샤주 쌤 비지지나 다 용적으로 봐. 이제 돈을 받다 보지라.
and so that bodhicitta can be conjoined with the wisdom realizing emptiness, or doesn't have to be conjoined with the wisdom realizing emptiness, right? So like the bodhisattva who have not realized emptiness, so his bodhicitta will not be conjoined with the wisdom realizing emptiness, like
Okay.
maybe bodhisattva on the path of accumulation.
She's saying that's not really bodhicitta?
No, the conventional bodhicitta is the real bodhicitta. The ultimate bodhicitta is not bodhicitta. It's the wisdom realizing emptiness. Within the continuum,
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
제자 샤주 그 쌤지 쌤에 돈이 들어들라 대나시 로서 대 문에 전에다 고에 싸워 찡잉도 문에 데려왔어.
the Karchan Jila Chansam Sigoras.
대내다 대답 샤주 쌤에 샤주 쌤마다 가지 대답에 샤주 쌤 그래서 간진 코알에 들어와 안에 타와 타거로 사제기 람문이 찡이 데려서.
So that's because it's that bodhicitta, within the continuum. I mean that that ultimate bodhicitta, which is a wisdom realizing emptiness within the continuum of Arya Bodhisattva, that actually severs or cuts the cycle existence and leads to the state of full enlightenment.
내가도 인주 샤주 쌤라 고제 스비 싸워 주면 대신 땡도 베탈람 배사 뺏는 것이 뭐래서.
And so with the bodhicitta alone, you will not be able to achieve enlightenment or even like cut the root of the cycle existence. So it says, even if one has generated renunciation of bodhicitta, one will not be able to cut the root of the cycle existence. Therefore, strive to study and practice therefore strive to realize the dependent origination, which is the wisdom realizing emptiness.
양 샤주고 쌤매와이나 돈이가 또 와나 양 콜 조도 말했어. 거기서 어찌도 말했어. 샤주고 쌤이 봐이나 돈이 또 별로 매와이나 아니 거기서 어찌도 말했어.
So even if you are bodhicitta, so even if you are bodhicitta, without wisdom realizing emptiness,
말 돈이 또 봐이나야 샤주 쌤 매와이나 양 콜 조도 말했어.
koda mare,
거말 다 그지
sangeto.
상지도 말했어.
And so even if you have realized the emptiness, but if you don't have bodhicitta, then you will not be able to achieve enlightenment.
That's the next stanza says.
텐지 임바이자 안에 대니 빼면 내가 전부에다 안에 샹선 밥이지 돈이 또 별로더라 된다면 샹주 쌤슬라 말했어.
And so there, because it is that wisdom realizing emptiness within the continuum of Arya Bodhisattva that leads one to abandon all the obstructions and achieve state of full enlightenment. Therefore, it's called ultimate bodhicitta.
오케이. 제가 빼자다 로쇼 대단 샹주고 쌤이 생들 빼자다 라고도 식다 쇼스.
Therefore, it's called ultimate bodhicitta. That,
Okay.
through that's ultimately through that, then you will be able to achieve state of full enlightenment. So with the wisdom realizing emptiness within the continuum of Arya Bodhisattva, if it's not wisdom realizing emptiness within the continuum of Arya Bodhisattva, you will not be able to achieve
Full enlightenment.
오케이.
full enlightenment.
예스.
I think the confusion was it's like why is it called bodhicitta if it's bodhicitta if it's not.
제자 대담이 샹주 쌤이라면 샹주 쌤 라고만 도와서. 대담이 샹주고 쌤 대담마다 돈이 또 별로 샹주 쌤 거서다 대담 샹주 쌤 발라 버렸어.
Because it's within the continuum of Arya Bodhisattva. It's the ultimate, because it's the wisdom realizing emptiness. That's the ultimate, right? And therefore, because it is within the continuum of Arya Bodhisattva, therefore it's called bodhicitta.
제가 대담 샹주 쌤도 샹주고 생기 지나서 빼자고 라고 말했잖아. 직세쇼다. 샹주고 쌤이 있어야 돼. 빼자고 말했어.
And so therefore, ultimate bodhicitta is not the bodhicitta.
오케이.
Well, we're getting hung up on it as a word.
It's
Yes.
not bodhicitta.
Right,
Yeah.
오케이. You got it?
Yes.
대담 샹주고 쌤 샹주고 쌤 레가 선에 주도 갈라가.
Is ultimate bodhicitta? Yes, no.
No.
It has to be a continuum of our bodhisattva. That's what I think that's the confusion. It's not just
What?
emptiness and
Yes,
everyone's
yes,
thought.
what do you have?
That's right. Yeah. It's not just emptiness. It has to be emptiness within the continuum of Arya Bodhisattva.
Just to the realizing emptiness.
대야 녀랑 밥에 jel라 돈이 또 별로야 돼. 샹주고 쌤이 말했어. 텔라단도 신이라고 말했어.
So like in the continuum of the hearers and solitude realizers, Arya hearers and solitude realizers, they have wisdom realizing emptiness, right? but they don't have bodhicitta. Therefore, the wisdom realizing emptiness directly within the continuum of Arya hearers and solitary realizers is not ultimate bodhicitta.
단저 된가도 된듯이 야보다는 게 된듯이나 또 여러 가지 봐.
And so these are all explained in the 70 topics, which we're going to study soon, right?
예. 저도 그만 로조 제대로 왔어.
Oh, you have already studied before.
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
A couple of times.
아니 가서 대선라 산삼 두셔라 산삼. 너는 내봐요 말세요. 그래서 따다 열었어.
So then it talks about the border, border of that mind. So this mind is at this point and at this point, from this point to this point. They're talking about the borders.
오케이. what's the
So in the nine stream of bodhisattva, the bodhicitta that they have on the path of preparation, all the way to the stage of peak, that's the conventional bodhicitta, and then the moment they enter the path of seeing, it becomes ultimate because of that realization.
course.
So you mean the wisdom realizing emptiness?
So like,
Wisdom realizing emptiness within the continuum of bodhisattva who is on the path of preparation
yeah, so
is
that-
not
that's
ultimate
the
bodhicitta.
conventional bodhicitta because it's not conjoined with the wisdom that directly realizes emptiness. But the moment they enter the path of seeing, they have the direct realization of emptiness. So the bodhicitta stays the same, it just becomes conjoined with that wisdom.
No, we not talk about the bodhicitta. We talk.
That's what I mean as conventional bodhicitta. Is the bodhicitta in their mind stream on the path of preparation.
No, not necessarily. Even in the bodhicitta, in the mind of the path of seeing is also bodhicitta. It's also conventional bodhicitta.
But the only thing that makes it, when we say ultimate, is they're just talking about that wisdom.
Yeah, that's the wisdom. That's not talking about bodhicitta.
Yeah.
제가 대답 시한지 섬지도 가리면은 시한지 섬지도 말했어요. 그지?
So yeah, so the the wisdom realizing emptiness within the continuum of you're talking about the bodhisattva on the path of preparation.
When the bodhisattva enters the path of seeing, there's the wisdom.
Before that, what do you say? Well,
Path of preparation.
yeah, what is about path of preparation?
They're not an Arya bodhisattva yet, because they haven't directly realized emptiness.
Yeah, but what was your question in that?
Well, they only have conventional bodhicitta at that point, and then they develop ultimate bodhicitta when they enter the path of seeing. And what I was saying was that the wisdom that directly realizes emptiness is conjoined with the bodhicitta. Because the Arya bodhisattva can't be without the bodhicitta, so the two have to be conjoined.
You can say conjoined, but it's actually within the Arya Bodhisattva, in the continuum of Arya Bodhisattva. So of course it's a wisdom realizing emptiness directly within the continuum of Arya Bodhisattva. Yeah.
That makes it
It's
better
almost like
definition.
you take the bodhicitta that's conventional, but you're adding the wisdom, because they're not separate.
Yeah, this is separate. This is different. Two different minds.
Well, no, yeah, two different minds, but they're mutually, they're inclusive, they're together. The Arya bodhisattva can't
What do you mean, inclusive? No.
Maybe
It's two different minds, totally different minds.
Totally different minds.
What if you thought about like a Venn diagram?
I think about when they, the two types of bodhicitta, conventional and ultimate, like when you see like two deities in union, that's what it represents, is the method and wisdom. I mean, method.
Tapta.
Yeah, 탑시라래.
Yeah, you can say that. Yes, you can say method and wisdom. Method, the conventional bodhicitta is method, and
Yeah,
the
that's
ultimate
correct.
bodhicitta is the wisdom. Yeah.
They're not the same, but
No.
can they be separated?
This is not same. This is a separate, completely different.
They are separate.
But can Arya bodhisattva have one and not the other? It has both.
The Arya Bodhisattva?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have both,
Yeah.
but they are two different things.
No, I know that, yeah. They're not
Yeah.
identical, they're two different.
Yeah. That's what a Geshe means. Yeah.
I was just trying to distinguish when ultimate bodhicitta is developed.
샹섬 통로톱나.
Yeah, when you realize emptiness directly, when a bodhisattva realizes emptiness directly, and at that time, he achieves the ultimate bodhicitta.
So they can't have it on the path of preparation.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yes. No. What do you have something to say?
No, what can we find to read more about this?
이것도 이제 까도문화 열도도.
The first chapter of the ornament of clear realization,
야. 아니 대인지 나라 봐서 열대.
and the 70 topics as well.
아니 대인지 나라 샘kel라야 다지리지거든 이세열. 다지리거네. 아니 대도스지도 구도스 제스.
So terminologically, they're divided into two, as ultimate bodhicitta and conventional bodhicitta.
Do you study 7 topics, right? You did?
I remember.
You know, you
If you have taken the class on 70 topics before, then maybe you have some notes. Go
Yeah.
check your notes.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right. What to do, but I'm so sure I'm so true. Today is on the Hamagona, G, Resana, and a caro. Ben Mountain and that just such a bachano.
And so it's good to understand all these differences, otherwise it will like saying like shooting an arrow without seeing the target.
Okay. Okay, that is it. Tango data, that changes some jet, that changes some jet, Tango to changes the Congo Pegores.
So now we have already talked about bodhicitta. So how do you generate bodhicitta, right? So once you have generated bodhicitta, then you can't just, it's not like there, it's not only up to that, from there you can even still increase the bodhicitta. You have to increase and expand the bodhicitta.
May Atanji Shinji Chushana, come in by the was. Yanjo Shimajuna may matendo.
And so like you have already lighted the fire is lit, and if you just leave it there, it will die. But you have to keep on adding more wood to have the fire blazing more and more.
Okay, that take Lula ya, Anaji Shanchus Yakuno Conpelo, the Tate water song. Symptom Jaja, Tudum Namsala, Combemana Shanchim, Labrador, some trouble over Shinjilo, was it that?
So like just by generating bodhicitta, you will not achieve the enlightenment, right? So in order to achieve that, you have to practice the 3 moralities, and so therefore, requesting the blessings to be able to practice that with a great effort.
Okay, that you take the children.
So let's read that. Even if I develop bodhicitta, yet don't practice the 3 types of morality, I will not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the bodhisattva vows with a great energy.
Okay, then
What are the 3 moralities?
Okay. Okay, what are that?
Generosity, morality.
No. 3
No, 3 types of morality.
3 types of morality.
Oh, I thought these were related to the 6 perfections.
The 3 types of
Different.
morality.
Okay.
Just the
what are
morality.
Oh, the 3 types of vows?
Whatever you can call it. What do you call it?
3 types of vows, okay. What else?
What are they?
Pratimacha vows?
No, different. Debra? Bob?
I think one of them is morality of giving protection.
Which
Okay.
is sort of-
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Harold?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Refraining from negativity.
That's the morality. That's morality. Yeah.
3 types of morality.
There's 3
I'm not
types
sure.
of it.
I'm not sure.
Another moment they love to say that. Okay? You don't understand? It's okay. We don't talk this time, but we already talked many times. I'm sure you heard many times, and you go back to your notes, you have put right many place.
So therefore you have to study again and again, and then again and again. That's
and
very
then
important.
Nyeje
So the morality of abstaining from the negativities,
and then
from misdeeds,
Gewa Chudi Tumsa.
and then the morality of collecting virtues,
And then Simjin Teju Tumsa.
and then morality of benefiting sentient beings.
Right?
So those 3 types of morality.
Okay, what are they? Yeah. Yeah.
Abstaining misdeeds,
Creating virtue.
creating virtue, and benefiting sentient beings.
You don't finish? Say again. No, 3 say again.
Repeat it again.
Repeat
Repeat
again.
it.
Abstaining from negativity.
Creating virtue.
Anyone say?
Abstaining from dating.
Abstaining from
Say again.
benefiting sentient beings.
당디나라까지 들은 넘버 숨란데 was. 들은 시타 아니 간조 샤지고 셈 코네 배워라. 아나 라디 멤버십 파시 쭉. 얘네 제제 대화십에 아니 대회 뭐 신념을 제고 그래서 대빼면 나가 싶어 참 그래.
So here is talking about the 3 types of morality, right? And but of course, like sixth perfection, so in order to tame, subdue one's mind, you need to practice the six perfections, and then in order to benefit others or subdue others' mind, you have to practice the the four means of so the four means of subduing others' mind.
Okay. 다 조절 보는 간도 시다던다 소들 상세 상가도 맞습니다. 와.
Or like so the four means of attracting the disciples.
Okay. 아니 간도 소들 상세 도 맞습니다. 와.
And also, there are like three different types of moralities, in terms of the vows, right? That is the individual liberation vow, and then bodhisattva vow and tantric vows, right?
아니 단다 아니 대치다 나도 가고도 맞잖아. 가고도 맞쇼고 송고에 상주sem에도 맞잖아. 상주sem에도 송고에.
So whatever vows you have taken, like the individual liberation vows or bodhisattva vows or tantric vows, whatever you have taken, you should observe those vows properly.
아니 자와이나 자외도 아니나 안에도 맞송고로 와.
So like the vows, of the monks and the vows of the nuns.
다 저도 밑에 보면서 가르쳐지 먹이지 못하는 송고에.
So then the lay vows, right? You have the lay people have a lay vows, and also the vow of abandoning the 10 non-virtuous actions.
그제다 수수 강해나비 돈바텔라야. 니베 남용 막기바. 아니 탑라 내된 침보고네 몇바 제바데 안 예제도 베스 좀 해야 될感じ.
And so, so whatever vows you have taken, making sure that none of those vows are stained by any misdeeds, and that's called abstaining, the morality of abstaining from the misdeeds.
오케이. 다 쏘는 것도 이시초 라초베 디베 기회다 라보체 남데 탑나초지 거네야 라젤라 고네 고네 페바셔바 누수주제라 담바셔바들 개와치도 있더점세.
And then engaging in a proper behavior, to accumulate all the collection of all the merits and wisdom, within one's mind, is the morality of collecting virtues.
아니 다 나셔접이 아니 다 소들 상가서 돈바치 아니 먹기지 보면 라츠바나 란도 이지지 말레베도네 아니 샘생에 된다 조정 토백시도 뭐와 대 아니 샘지 던지 점세.
And so whatever the moralities that you have observed, not only not being solid or stained by one's self-cherishing attitude, but but instead dedicating for the benefit of all others, dedicating to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all others. So whatever the virtues that you have accumulated by observing those vows, not dedicating for oneself alone, but dedicating to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of others. So that will be the morality of benefiting others, benefiting sentient beings.
다 대답에 들은 넘버 섬라야 딱 공리 야부 영화치 뭐 매바이나 라나면 야도 보서 샹주 공부 도고 말에 대면도 받아 레버런 돈에 아니 지 레버런 돈에 아니 딱 네버 님볼라니 다 가로 계속 샹주 셈비 돈바를 좀 왔을 넘버 섬라지 소바 슈 트라부 간나는 다 랍게 인사로 랍바 신절로 시사로.
And so, so if you without practicing these three moralities, there is no way one can achieve enlightenment. So by seeing that clearly or recognizing this clearly, and say so one will very strongly engage in this practice. So here you're requesting, please bless me to practice the bodhisattva vows with the great energy.
오케이. 다들 된마 파신 찾아 지라고 했어. 다들 파신 가서 주신 담아서 와.
And so here, we're supposed to go through the explanation of all six perfections, but I don't think we have time, for today. To cover all them for today.
파신도 꿈이야 시작돼야.
So what are the six perfections from the bottom?
Start bottom.
Knowledge. Wisdom. Concentration, effort, patience, generosity.
Okay, stop another person.
Morality and generosity.
From bottom up.
오케이. 아니 짐바도 짐이 파신 쳐봐 가르쳤나?
What's the difference between generosity and perfection of generosity?
Generosity combined with wisdom is the perfection of generosity.
오케이. What are you?
Generosity combined with bodhicitta.
Okay. Anyone? Deborah?
What do you mean? Yeah,
No,
define
we
the
say-
question again? Or what did you-
What's the difference between generosity and perfection of generosity?
Okay?
I'd say bodhicitta is stainless,
Yeah.
without stain, yeah, without a contrivance. You can be generous, but it can be stained with like a bad motivation. You can be generous, but it's corrupted. So we combine it with bodhicitta, or maybe another way to say it.
Bob?
Is it combined with wisdom?
Okay. Anyone?
This is language.
Language
Kinda
po-
pure.
is language problem?
No,
Mare.
it's not a language.
Jimba the Jimbe passion do.
I think there are different ways of saying it.
Yeah. Jimbe passion to nyamle sade and shanjub ge semji sembegi Jimba tutum zoba sundi samdetula and passions.
So here it's referring to bodhicitta.
shanjub semji mazembe tudula and passion the passion like mare Jimbe nyamlen tuni nyamlen something you shall nyam like was.
So generosity conjoined, with the bodhicitta, will be perfection of generosity, and same with others on any of the other 6 perfections. And so when it's when it's conjoined with bodhicitta, then it becomes perfection of generosity, perfection of morality, and so forth.
Okay? Kanda shetan Jimba tonga trum zo bo chuke le melen gancha yer was.
So generally, practicing of like morality or practicing of generosity can be done by anybody, right? Whether you believe in religion or not, you can do that practice of generosity.
어떤데다 아니 Jimba tonga trum zo gumbato ani nyram pabatro yores nidu kata.
And so the practice of the generosity, morality, and so forth is also done by the hearers and solitary others.
어떤데다 간지 Jimbe 파르시면 냠len다. Jimba trum 냠len다 샤집게 셈지 셈베 아니 되게 냠len다 샤집게 셈 냠len다 아니 파시 냠레스 샤집게 셈 세슬라나 가다 시절 인자 여바지 지 고네 패바든지 파줘도 고네 패도도 선바세 강가지는 인자 여바든지 조금 말했어 지 고네 패나 파줘도 고네 패지 고네 패빈도 답지 셔바도 고네 앞에서 와나 선발라고 그랬어.
So anyway, so generosity, right? So generosity and morality, patience, and so forth. So when it's conjoined with the bodhicitta, then it becomes perfection. The 6 perfections, are the generosity and so forth conjoined with bodhicitta. So when we say conjoined, what does it mean? Conjoined, right? So like the generosity and the bodhicitta, right? So generosity and bodhicitta, generosity conjoined with bodhicitta, it becomes perfection of generosity. So when you say conjoined, means that like when one increases, the other increases too. Then that will be conjoined.
그렇죠? 제 강가지는 인자 여바든지 고메콘도 말해.
So just by having generosity and bodhicitta, you can have both, right? You can have generosity and you can have bodhicitta. But for it to be conjoined, then when one increases, the other has to increase too.
근데 요래서
Like that, can it be?
시바니 강가지를 여자 지냐 지야지로 지야 이제 진도 요래서.
So can it happen like you have 2 different minds, right? And then when one goes up, then other goes up too. Can that happen?
Sure, why not?
제자 로비 자그레 봐서 마로비 자그레 봐서나.
Is it necessary to go or necessary to not go? You know what I mean? Is it necessary for one you have 2 types of mind? Is it necessary for one mind goes, the other mind goes up too? Is it necessary? Or is it not necessary that when one mind goes, that the other mind doesn't go?
I say not necessary.
Yeah. Not necessary and not necessary.
Okay, give if not necessary, give example.
Not necessarily that one goes and
Yeah,
One
one
doesn't
doesn't
go.
go.
Well, like if you replace the mind of hatred with love, when the hatred goes down, right?
That's exactly like that,
Yeah.
right? If your attachment, if your anger, that you not necessarily anger go up. And this sunset, the never no sunset do.
So just because you have both doesn't mean that it's conjoined. Like anger and love can be can have both. You can have both, right, in your mind. They cannot be conjoined because when anger goes up, the love should go up too if they are conjoined. But it doesn't happen. Like the anger goes up, love goes down, or when the love goes up, anger goes down. So they are together in one mind. They are both are in the one mind, but they are not conjoined.
Okay.
That's the
yes.
difference.
So if somebody develops bodhicitta, they can practice generosity that's not motivated by bodhicitta?
그렇죠.
Yes, 장주 선배 주기 진배 냠래나 지금 발전에 차버려서.
아 대차고 전혀 좀 잘해.
대지도 다 진배 냠래 제야라 아는데 장주 선배 말씀에 진배 냠래 제야 말아. 장주 선배 지면 진배 냠래 잡아나 다 심정이 된다 진배 냠래 잡아라.
말이 샹주 선배 진배 냠래나 아니 샹주 선배 가로 진배 파신 냠래 미쳐 말라거든. 진배 냠래나 진배 파신 냠래 미쳐 말들라고 말.
이놈은 장주 선배 주기.
샹주 선배지 아니
진배
진배 냠래라도
진배 발전 냠래 잡아.
진배 파신 차그래.
So there's no practice of generosity, without being a perfection of generosity within the continuum of Bodhisattva.
So you just said earlier though that you can have generosity and you can have bodhicitta, they're two separate. Are they always conjoined the moment you practice generosity if you develop bodhicitta?
샹주 선배는 집발했어. 샤이 차고 말해. 근데 진배 냠래 왔더니 샹주
말도 다기 저랑 그다 심마센스야디 장주 니가 다 장주 섬다 장주 진바 여와다 장주 섬 여와 섬게 심바스게 말했어. 아니 직야 별도는 그 신다다 야페 와는 때 심바스게 그랬어.
뭐다 되니 달라.
대수된다 장주 섬배 줄라 장주 섬다 진바니자 요거 가서 가가 영어로 배서 버다. 마심바 영어로 배서.
어디 대파요 말이 샹주 선배를 막 내가 라이드 식당에 니자보다 선발라고 말했어.
No, that's what it means. Like you can have there's two different minds, right? Two different things. But in case of the Bodhisattva, yes, it is always conjoined, because when your practice of generosity is always conjoined with the bodhicitta, because you are doing it all the time. Whenever you do practice of generosity, you do it, to benefit other sentient beings, to gain enlightenment for the benefit of other sentient beings, and therefore it's always conjoined with bodhicitta. But when I say two different minds, it's just example. So it doesn't have to be like conjoined all the time, but in other cases, right? But in this case, in the Bodhisattva's mind, it's always conjoined, yes.
I was just trying to think of an example of when they weren't conjoined, but they're in the same continuum.
So like in the Bodhisattva, and it's going to be only Bodhisattva who will have both, right? The practice of generosity and and the practice of bodhicitta. It's only going to be in the mind of the Bodhisattva. So in the mind of the Bodhisattva, it will be always, if it's a practice of generosity, then it will be always a perfection of generosity.
오케이. 다 샹주 있으면 권이 배워라 가능을 찍었나?
So what do you have to practice in order to increase your bodhicitta? Parchintuk.
Then
Patience.
파신 투냐면 제거 그래서. 내가 대윙이 뭐 신냐면 제거 그래서.
Yes, 6 perfections, and
Okay.
the four means of attracting the disciples.
오케이. 파신 투다 하고 서 참여 하고 서. 하고
You know all of you know what are the 6 perfections?
right. 다 니주마 홈워크 간다 파신 투는 생이 된다.
So now the homework for next week is to find the definition of 6 perfections.
오케이.
The definition of 6 perfections.
오케이.
Yeah.
3월 생이 그래서.
Definition of 6 perfections.
오케이.
Definition of 6 perfections.
doing 뭐지 하고.
What are the 4 means of attracting?
대호왕이다. 대호이노?
I think I have three of them.
오케이.
I don't know if it's called didn't want to say the top the molamishra. That doing over she like the top the molamishra.
뭐만 찍겠다.
What means of
대머리다 찍겠다.
disciple?
동보지 좀 봐. 되는 년 봐봐. 되네.
Yeah, so 4 means of attracting the disciples.
Attracting the disciples.
Yeah. How do you attract the disciples?
된
What they want, be the example, not being, not saying one thing, do one thing.
Yeah.
Being patient and gentle when you speak with them.
Gifts.
how to give. Second.
Material gifts.
된 된
Yeah.
셴바 녀버 마와시.
The first one's giving what
And then what? Talking pleasant.
Being living what you
대마와. 대뉴와.
그래. 그러고 안에 치들어와. 다 당복까지 좀 받을 때 내 녀버 마와시. 안에 된 마와. 되는 탐바스. 아니 쉐바니 소소가 냠네 제가 그래서.
fourth one is
Yeah.
material gifts.
So the first one is giving material gifts, right? Second one is talking pleasantly, and the third one is acting accordingly, or and then the fourth one is teaching the Dharma.
되는 탐바스나 소소지 그래.
So now we don't have
밀에 나와서 소도 오지 그랬어.
Acting accordingly, like, just like you teach, you practice in that way too. So not just telling others to practice and not practicing yourself, but yourself practicing too.
Okay. Then next your homework, we got it? What is that?
Definition of the
Six perfections, okay?
And we work.
Okay, that fourth 하고서 what? 방식적인 ten이데 라운드는 요렇게인가? 뜻이 말하고 용스 바레스.
So the definition is all in the lam-rim text. You can, if you read the lam-rim text, you'll find the definition there.
Okay? Any other questions? Serious questions?
I'm sorry, the six perfections and then four.
Means, four means of attracting the disciples.
다 이거 좀 적어야 됩니다. 다 짐발라는 걸로. 짐발라나?
What is generosity? Giving?
제가 짐바 동안 좀 째고 그러면서나.
So you have to give if to practice generosity.
You can do things in your mind too.
Huh?
You can be generous by making, offerings in your mind.
Same samdana degrees.
그때 두 말하던데. 째고 말더니 그거 두 말아.
So you're just thinking in your mind, right? You're not really giving.
지금 샘그 째야 돼. 지금 랭글라는 주 째서 째서래. 샘그 째야 돼. 미치 랭글라나.
So you can think of giving your iPhone to somebody, right? You can think of. But if somebody asks you for that, will you really give it? No, that's different, right?
Wishing someone well. Yeah, but
아?
generosity,
Yeah, there's-
wishing someone well.
Wishing someone well.
아직 내는 단다 라운드 치면 두 손도. 신비 파신지 냠련다. 니차도 찔러요. 저서 때
Kind of this
듣죠.
one, giving protection, saving life.
Okay, I will read that one. This is from the quotation from the lam-rim chemo. Jembi pashinji nyamlenda, ngus ze yenla tongwa mechang, tongwi semba, gotamani jeji, ne chimbeda tongwa yinos.
So the giving, the actual, like when you give the material, thing to somebody, it's not really giving. It's the mind that wishes to give. So generosity is a state of mind. It's not the act of giving. It's the state of mind. So that's what you have to develop. It's the mind wanting to give or wishing to give. Is what you have to develop again and again, again and again. When you have that, then you will be able to give your iPhone.
근데 이다
Always have to be physical things. I mean, you can have generosity of mind, say with someone who is a really troubled being and maybe has very confused thinking, or instead of getting angry at them and berating them. I mean, it's a kind of generosity to just give them a space and let them be themselves, without, non-judgmentally. That's a kind of generosity.
된거는 째였는 줄 알았어. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can give such things,
If you
yes,
such
that
things,
will be
that's
giving.
great. That's great.
Giving
Okay.
of your time and yourself.
Mhm.
Time, spending time with someone and
Giving time, yeah.
time and yourself.
Yeah, 뜻을 쟤는 뜻을 떼봐.
그래서 정말 로겐나.
쟤는 뜻을 떼봐. 다 코로나님도 때 뜻을 떼와. 얘다 콘서트 뜻을 떼게 너가 열어 미카시. 저랑 가님도 뜻을 떼. 미카시 때 찍고 되는 열어.
야.
파마돼서다. 연구돼서 님도.
야, 그래서 딱 가지 봐줘발라 펜스가 끝나는 쟤는 되게 어렸어.
Yeah, so you spend time with the old folks, lonely people, so yeah, volunteer, right? Yeah, that's giving too.
펜스가 끝나는 쟤는.
Out of a good intention, out of intention to benefit them.
Okay. Yes.
I vaguely remember a list that there was something like that you giving, like by saving life, giving protection.
대만
what
보여.
is that?
대만 보였어.
Yeah, so there are different kind of givings.
짐발라 나라 나굴 파는 만 보여서.
Yeah, there are different kind of givings. Yes.
다 다단계 라이드 지나도 지다 짐바세 가리고 나 수술은 짐방에서 땅 매바이나 샘가 돈이야 똥세 빼내 되네 아버지는 빼면서 펜도치 뭐 살아왔어.
So the real giving is the intention to give. So yeah, you are the wishing to give. So wishing to give or intention to give, that's very important. So you have to develop that. That's the mind that you have to develop. When you have that mind very strong, giving will be very easy.
다 내려오지 내 아이폰 데 아이패드 책에서 같이 믿어 좀 제가 지금 미식래 무슨 기타 무야지 기타네 대동신은 그 따다고 동선이 오페 도면 따라왔어 미스가 동에 잡았지 미야지 미팅은 기타나
아니.
다 루마다 죽어야나 동선이 오빠 가르 빼면 따라
So you imagine giving, like your iPad, and then, with your eyes all closed, you imagine giving, and then living there, and somebody comes and grabs it and takes away, and then you open your eye and you see it's missing, and then you see somebody grabbed it and walking with that, you run after that person. Is that, then it will be not giving, right?
아니 내 맡은데 여서 봐. 바로 아주 서러워. 얘야 쇼이게 제대마 쇼당해 왔지. 이게 당도 아 되게 쇼심보여서고 삼바랬어. 그때 스위트도 지와 가다 말로 마시. 아니 되게 어? Really? Okay. I think that maybe stop because I have one story that maybe not talk because some visitors come in, then we stop. Okay? Do the homework, okay? You can, someone can tell them I will come in the moment. Yeah. Okay? 사제 부지 쇼자메도 다라레 데 잠바네 사제 시데메데 로게 남도 션도 쇼버쇼 다제 링아용소 로쇼게소 어쩌다 그래서 뭐 그저 소제 로예로네 라마야다게 이다 그래서 이단 거라는 말을 끝나야 다야 뭐 가로를 꼴배시고도 펜다도 말이지 그래서 뭐 되게 샤베스에 봐도 되게 저거 더 빼빼거든 조선 끝면은 다소 늦은 것도 잡되는 쇼 의미에서베듯이 시래데 좀 준비하고 먼저 봐야 너무 멀리 이제 가져게 베듯이 저 루자타 비자라서 안돼 당겨원